Alright boys, welcome back to another potty here. I'm running through a TLT Blitz as I do on a Tuesday night, trying to get this into your ears as early as possible so you can get those waivers in. Obviously a lot of you may not play the buy rounds in your leagues, but you may be playing classic or fantasy, and there could be some value in what I'm talking about here, or you just like draft content regardless of whether you play or not. And there's value to be had in looking ahead. I think it was last week the Dogs were on the bye, but I was telling people to jump on Blake Wilson and Connor Tracy as sort of just to get ahead of the curve there. They do have a tough matchup against the Roosters obviously this weekend, but yeah, draft is a constant, it's sort of something you need to constantly have your finger on the pulse for. You can't take a few days off like you can in classic and fantasy because people get dropped to the waiver, and there's advantages in sort of having trade conversations at the start of the week so you can get them done before Thursday night. That sort of stuff is why draft is so all consuming to people that play it sort of competitively or play it just to win sort of thing. So yep, we're going to smash through the TLT. Just before I move on, just want to thank everyone who chimed in and has been giving me feedback and submitting questions and whatnot. Look, I made a concerted effort sort of in my last week of holidays last week to push the potty in the video out to a different audience, and yeah, we cracked 150 views on the matchup video last week. And look, that doesn't convert to a ton, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, I've only been doing this for just over a month and sort of averaging that 50 view point. So to crack, triple that, get a massive spike like that was awesome. And I think slowly people realize the value in that. If I get time, I'll put together another tweet where I just recap some of the names I called out and how they went. Like, it was a pretty successful translation from my model data to outcomes. I think the one guy that, even Tyron Wishart popped off, didn't he? I think he even went all right. So it's like, I know he didn't in fantasy though, which is what I had him in fantasy and was pretty keen to spruce him as a bit of a pickup there. But he didn't. The try assists don't translate so much over there because it just doesn't work. The scoring's not exactly the same, but everyone else, yeah, it was pretty solid in the matchup review. So yeah, thanks again. That was a really big win. So if you've been here from day one, appreciate it. You've definitely contributed to that and improving the quality of the content. Again, this is just an insight. If you're pulling this video up for the first time and you've never seen what I do here, this is the TLT Blitz. I just run through the TLT, some key callouts, pickups, waiver wire, add options for people in different with different requirements and whatnot. But this screenshot is a screenshot from the matchup video that I do typically on a Wednesday night or Thursday upload schedule, and it just has a snippet here of a graphic from the YouTube video where I have a pretty nice visual to to sort of support what I'm talking about when I talk about my model data matchups, which so far have been pretty solid. So pretty happy with how that's going. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect sort of thing, but yeah, it's good enough, and I'm really happy with it. And yeah, this graphic doesn't express that I've updated, I think, to like 6 and 4 or something now, or 6 and 3, 6 positives and 3 negative matchup sort of thing. So yeah, it's only gotten better since this screen cap. So tune back in, hit subscribe if you're new to get that into your ears and help you win your matchups. So moving on to the teams, guys, given buys, there's a lot of chopping and changing. A lot of things won't be relevant. I'm going to power through this. Got a bit to do tonight. So the obvious one is for hammer owners who are needy in fullback, for example, or just anyone who could use an upgrade at fullback. Trai Fuller does present a 2-game sort of stopgap plug-in. He will score decently just with his work rate. I don't know how good it'll be against the Storm, but he runs hard and plays hard. But, on that side as well, nothing else really stands out. Lucky for the Fins up, except Tavita Pangai Jr. comes in on the bench. I haven't looked at his positional eligibility. If you're really desperate in a deep league, you could stash him in case he's valuable, but I haven't seen enough from TPJ to recommend him wholeheartedly on this potty to you guys. On the Storm side, Pappy's back, which is huge for owners who've had to hold. Suafa'alongo goes to the wing. Warbrick comes in. It's either to replace Coates or he's back healthy. Grant Anderson, who I've recommended 2 weeks in a row as a plug, who has done a great job, thank you very much, stays in the team. I still think you could plug Grant Anderson in. Like, if you've already got him, don't drop him and run him back out for numbers if you need, if you're playing buys. I think he's just sort of a bit of a... I don't think he's amazing. I just think he sort of accumulates stats. He's a trier. He's in the right place at the right time. That might fade this weekend. Like, don't sort of... bet your house on it. But yeah, I think you can run Grant Anderson out there. And the Finns have been playing pretty well, and they're basically full strength. So don't, don't overinvest on Finns. But we did see last week they conceded a few points there, so should be a good night for the Storm. As I said, Fa'alogo retains a wing spot, which is good for owners, so they can run him out in this matchup. The guy I want to call out really from a waiver pickup is Trent Loiero. Just the work rate's there. Don't know how good he'll be. Don't know how good the minutes will be, but I like this bench for him, I think. Like, who's really a lock there? Like, Josh King can come up there. I think Trent's going to play big minutes. I'll probably potentially be looking to grab him on freeze and play him this weekend just for... He could go 65 points, and that could be the difference in these tight buy rounds. So, yeah, like Trent Loiero as one to monitor and one to stash potentially. Sean Bloor owners, it's pretty depressing. I'm part of that group. I dropped him but got him back due to injuries to freaking whoever. It was KPP, I think, and then something else happened. It's just... Yeah, the work rate needs to lift, and Tyron Wishart isn't doing him any favours, but we're going to move on. For the Titans, Kinney keeps delivering another high score. Well, not keeps delivering, but yeah, he's delivering enough with a really high score on last weekend to match what he did the other week against the Broncos. You keep running him out until Brimson's back. I like Erin Clark at lock. I don't know what his minutes will be because of Chris Randall potentially moving into there when Verrills comes on, Isaac Liu, but he's a sort of PPM guy in the past, bits and pieces. I think, diehard people know that Erin Clark has a bit about him. It hasn't really translated in the last few years, but he's just one to monitor in really deep leagues, or just as a plug if you were thinking, okay, what if you play 60 minutes? That's 60 points. So potentially, or 50, definitely 50 plus. So yeah, keep an eye on Erin Clark if you're in a deep league. Nothing else jumps out because it's a bit of a mess. I wouldn't really be relying on Pahulu or Palacia. There's nothing that we love. I just want to call out though that David Fafita has been named for owners, so yeah, play him in this one. CNK stays at fullback. Edward Cossey probably has a good matchup. I'm just predicting that. I need to go do the data tonight. RTS is back too, which is good. So you got to love your Warriors backline because they're basically full strength here. So got to love playing your Warriors plugs and backlines here. But I think Cossey, if he's on the right, which he should be, is a solid plug and play for a try or two. I think he's done decently in the past. At times, Cossey, I could be super wrong there, so just fact check that for me if you're really desperate. I think there's better options, as we'll discuss in a bit, but I think if he's on that right edge, he could be the beneficiary against this sort of leaky Titans side. Niukore, if the minutes in the right spot for him, I think he could do a job outside Sean Johnson, who didn't deliver much on the weekend, unfortunately, for owners. But he's just one to call out there. Everything else is pretty standard. Nothing on the bench jumps out to me there for either team to plug and play. Next game is Roosters Bulldogs. On the Rooster side, I've been recommending Pauga, and he crossed the line. He just keeps giving you 55 plus. That's like exactly what you want through this period if he's doing a job for you. So yeah, even at centre, a winger, wherever he is, he'll score decently. Dom Young's back in, but he could drop out, and we saw it was Pauga who went to the right wing when Young dropped out. So just... yeah, you got to like Pauga because there's a chance he plays right wing if Dom Young. I know Dom Young got through training. I don't think they're going to force a hamstring to play if there's any doubt. So there's just a chance that happens too. Brandon Smith's at hooker while Nat White stays at lock. Don't know what the minutes will be for Nat White, but again, you're punting that it does trend up or whatever if you're owning him or looking to grab him. It's about that scope for upside with Nat White. Moving quickly through, Tedesco's playing, which is sick for owners. This Roosters team's pretty sick. I love that. I get Terrell May as a forward. He's a genuine captaincy option, Terrell May. Looking at the bench too, I don't know who Blake Steep is, but I don't think Tupanua, Wong and Smith are going to take much minutes of Terrell May. So I need to consider, am I captaining Teddy or Terrell May? Because it is a genuine question how good Terrell May is when he gets 50 plus minutes. It's actually cooked. On the Bulldogs, which is interesting, Jarrell Skelton gets a start. I love him in the black book. He's just sort of looks like his SuperCoach fantasy monster for the future. I don't know what's holding him back. I mean, could be defense. It could just be general versatility as a player. I know he's a power runner and maybe he's really limited, but yeah, he's one if you're really feeling spicy, but it would be Blake Wilson that I'd be plugging in. I think I'll chuck him in if I can get him in my back line. But the problem is, given the potential matchup restraint here against the Roosters, who are rolling out a really strong team, like it's not the team you really want to rely on winger plug and plays, but what I've seen from the Dogs looks really good. Does a bye benefit that, or is it detrimental having a bye? They at full speed, or are they a bit lackadaisical against this red hot Roosters team? Not sure. Josh Curran on an edge is good for owners. I think just purely from a minutes perspective, the PPM will be there. Maybe hopefully a couple of offloads that could change late. I don't know how. Sorry, what's his face likes a few changes, but I expect Josh Curran to play 80 on edge. Jamin Salmon will do a job. I think he's eligible in CT dub, so if you're in a really deep league and he's there, like he could get you 40, maybe 45 in your CT dubs as a potential. Jamin Salmon could. So yeah, keep an eye on that if you're looking in those areas. Don't know what sort of game this will be though. Like Dogs have been stingy and good, but the Roosters are the Roosters at the moment. So this could really be, it's really hard to predict this one. I'll do the stats and they'll look grim, but I wouldn't read too much into the stats for Roosters players. I'd be going for it. Next game is Bunnies Manly. On the Bunny side, Jai Gray gets a spot back. Yeah, he showed a bit, Jai Gray, but I wouldn't be playing him because I think it's only a short-term thing. AJ and Gagai, you love them in this matchup, I think, as wingers, due to the fact White and Cody are still playing. Look, they're not playing Origin, is what I mean. You got Cookie generating, from hooker. So I think those wingers are plugs if you're really desperate and you're sort of short on troops and you're looking for scraps in the wings. I mean, Johnson will probably be owned, but Gagai is someone that might cross the line. For the Manly Seagulls, I spoke about Lehi Hopoate, guys. He's really talented. He had a big score again. So he's gone big score, pretty good score against the Panthers, and then big score. Like he's a gun of the future Lehi. I would say the future of next year, possibly. But I think Tommy's going back to fullback, guys, unfortunately. But the problem is he's probably get injured. So Lehi is just a must handcuff for Tommy owners if you've got the bench space for it. It's not a rush. There's a lot of good fullbacks. So I suspect people have resolved that as Tommy owners now. But if you're not a Tommy owner or you want to target the Tommy owner, Lehi's still a great grab. As short-lived as his sort of spot may be, he's too good when he's there. So I think you could trade him to the Tommy owner, watch Tommy get injured, keep an eye on Lehi, that sort of stuff. Watching, monitoring that situation acutely if you're in a position to leverage Lehi or Tommy owners into situations. So love Lehi. Tommy Talua, he had a good week then a bad week. Just can't tell, is Cooler playing on his usual edge or is Shop going to go on the left? Because if he is, that hurts Tommy as a plug. Tommy Talua as a plug and benefits Cooler as a right edge plug due to the preference to play on the right. But with Carl Lawton at halfback, I don't like that either. Is he going to play on the right? Is he going to play on the left? I just don't know. I assume they just go down Luke Brooks, which is why I've got Luke Brooks' edge, which is why I've got Talua there. So it's a bit all over the place. Tough one to read. I wouldn't be really relying on my plugs from this backline necessarily because I don't know how well Lawton's going to sort of play. And that's tough to read, that one. Jake Simpkin, he should be starting anyway over Carl Lawton. Unfortunately, it took Carl Lawton going to 7 for Jake Simpkin to start, but soon they'll realise he's better than Lawton and that Lawton's better than Cham Kun Tong and he can come back to the fucking reserves, that fella. He's not much chop that I can see. Nathan Brown's at lock. He's a plug if you're really desperate, but I don't know about that either. Next game, I just want to get off that team. Tigers, Raiders, not a lot of changes here. These teams both just don't have any real origin representatives. So the main thing is Lachlan Galvin comes back in. Atua Kamanu had a big game, but he's up and down. Pole, I think he scored a try. So potentially, using my memory here, I didn't actually check. Finu showed some upside, which we love. Like the way he ran onto that ball. Was it from Caesar or was it from Caesar, which was sick because unfortunately Caesar will probably go back to the right because we know Galvin prefers left, but I don't know, Finu's still really good as a front rower. You don't want to you don't want him to be a front rower one, but as a two, it's fine. He's hit upside twice in a month now where he had that really slow start, so good for owners to keep monitoring that. On the Raiders side, no major call outs. It's just meh. If you've got your Raiders guys and you go for it. I'm not going to... I'd be playing Ethan Strange, though, if he was an option, for example. If you need to fill a spot or you had him, you could chuck him in your CT dubs. I'm sure he'll have a couple of attacking moments in this game, would be my guess. That's it, guys, due to the shortened week, I just ran through those old slides. I'm just going to check questions really quickly before we get out of here. And then I will also run through my waiver recommendations just in a hit list with pickups and whatnot, just for anyone who tunes in purely for that list. First question, Nafauhu Whyte rest of season, fluctuating minutes and roll with Cheese and Watson, better to hold or Nuff? He's just a luxury stash. You've heard me use that terminology on the potty and the video before, but he's purely a luxury stash. Like if you can rock with him, just see where it goes. But like if there's better options, you just grab the better option. It's as simple as that. The thing with Naf Whyte is it's because of the front row eligibility. Like if he's doing a job for you as your second front rower, rock with it. But if not, yeah, move on. With how good Cheese is, with how good Watson's playing, but see Watson goes to Origin now, and like, yeah, I'd be running with Nat White. I expect him to play big minutes this weekend. I think it's it's the wave you surf until it fades out. It's not something you try and, this is the end of it. Like we need to see it, and I just don't know what Cheese's role. Like I don't know if he's playing lock to impact Nat White. So that's my answer on that one. Not perfect, but yeah, just a luxury stash, mate. You just got to apply your situation to the Nat White sort of setup. But I'd be probably trying to hold, I suppose, myself. This next question, still have Ponga stashed on bench and Drinky in the fullback slot. We play flex and have been chopping and changing between Hopoate, Weeks, Kinney and Sharpe. Who would be the priority to have until Ponga is back? Love the potties. I think it's Sharpe now. Like I think, you've got Ponga, so the beauty is when Ponga comes back, you can flick Sharpe sort of thing. Hopoate is sick, but his time is gonna come to an end. Weeks I really like though as well. He's probably the close one. Kinney I like enough. I just know that when Brimson comes back, he loses a spot. So yeah, the job security is with Weeks. It's not really because old mate's got to come back too. That's why I'd go Sharpe, but just have a look at the runs too. Like have a look at who they're playing in the next couple of weeks. I know the Knights have the 19. They play round 19, which is sick. But to be fair, maybe so does Weeks and Kinney do too. Mate, it's a gluttony of choice, and it's the hardest part in SuperCoach when you've got to make a choice from a lot of good options. That's the worst part. I'd probably just keep it simple and play the fullback that has the quote-unquote the job security, i.e. Sharpe has the security until Ponga is back, which is all you need, right? Hopoate, yeah, Tommy's probably the closest to returning, then Brimo. Yeah, I'd soon probably just drop Hopoate because Kinney should have a week two more than Hopoate possibly. Do your casualty ward check on that, and the Titans play round 19. I know for a fact. I think Manly might too, but I know for a fact. So you like that. Weeks, yeah, he's eventually what's his face will come back, the other halfback. So yeah, and does Weeks have the upside in that team? I mean, he's been pretty sick and he kicks goals. That's for you to decide, mate. Yeah, look, I'd probably just go Sharpe. I've seen enough. He's really fast. Is he great? Is he perfect? No, but he's super fast. Like, that's fun. Weeks is just in that kind of meh team. They rely on a bit of junk, weird crap to score tries, whereas Sharpe's got footwork and he plays the sweep, which we love. That's what I'd do, mate. I'd rank it. I'm just going to rank it for you. I'd go 1 Sharpe, 2 Weeks, 3 Kinney, 4 Hopoate, and I love Hopoate. Like, you literally can't go wrong. So, yeah, good on you, mate. Thanks. Love the potties. I appreciate that, mate. Doing it for guys like yourself, and wish I had a sort of more clear-cut answer for you, but you're asking that because that's a tough question to answer, and I've given you my thoughts, so combine them with yours and let's look at some matchups when I record that later, and yeah, let's work together to see what's best for you. Next question, 10-team league, round 23 to 26 finals. Good work, mate. Having the finals in the right spot, I reckon, just about. Playing buys, good. That's really good. Love the league setup. Leilua versus Lemuelu rest of season. Leilua is my 2RF3 and considering dropping to get numbers. Yeah, mate, just on the fact that Lemuelu is going to play 80. I would play Lemuelu. Look, they play the buys, as you know, which we love. Definitely do that. I think Leilua is probably on that cusp of must own, whereas Lemuelu I'm considering owned. So to me, it's Lemuelu. Do that, mate. And yeah, you can adapt later if you want. Just note that I think Leilua has a quote-unquote better finals run, but Lemuelu, he has a bit of base, bit of upside. Love how he runs. So, yeah, go grab Lemuelu and let's figure it out later on if we get stuck. Good stuff, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Yeah, just tried to smash that one out. It's still 20 minutes, but that's super quick compared to a lot of other gear going around. I'm going to get to work on these matchup models for that potty, so I can get that to you guys as well. Really looking forward to the buy round myself. I've been a really tough matchup. I got up last weekend. Anyone in the Discord saw, Teddy popped off, Toto popped off, Luai popped off. Hit upside with Cookie. Finu hit upside. It was a really fun weekend to manage my team, and yeah, I'm still in the same spot in the ladder, but I'm I've knocked off the guy in third who has the third best record, but he's really close to the best record. I've knocked him off twice, but I've lost to lower ladder guys. My comp right now is man, it's super tight. Yeah, I nearly said a rude word, but yeah, it's super tight comp at the moment. And I'm proud that without Cleary for basically what feels like effectively the whole season, and losing out on the Marju situation, I've put together a pretty solid squad. So I'm in a brutal matchup this week where I'm versing a guy who's just all Warriors and all Roosters and all Manly, and so he just has all his boys. So he's choosing I think we do only 6 count of our 11 players, and I think he's rolling I think literally 11 guys out, and he only has to take the best 6, whereas I think I'm trotting out 6 guys and I need them all to fire. So, but I've got Terrell May and Teddy, so should be fun. Trying to stay optimistic about it. But yeah, if you're keen to talk shop, jump in the Discord, guys. Just DM me on any platform and I'll flick you the link. Sweet. I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope you won, or at least got something positive out of last weekend, and yeah, let's work together in the Discord to get up this weekend the buy round. See you guys. Righto, boys. Sorry, I forgot to run through the list as per. Waiver pickups. I think I got Fletcher Sharpe at number 1. I still think Lehi is a waiver pickup. As you heard me mention, I think there's value to be had finessing him around to the turbo owner and whatnot. Bryce Cartwright, if he's not owned, came off the bench. It was super weird, but he popped off and he just looks sick outside Moses. Nafauhu Whyte, yeah, I still think he's a low-end waiver, just if you've in that sort of league and you're needy. Leilua, if he's around, just in the lock space. I had Frizell, but then we saw changes with... no, I still have Frizell, sorry, because it was Dylan Lucas looking after replacing KPP, who was hurt. So yeah, Frizell, if he's been dropped. Blaize Talagi, still value, man. On the week, you can score a try. It's crazy. He's got the bye this weekend, but still think he's a low-end waiver or a free agency sort of plug. Hey, he didn't really convert the try into a massive score, but yeah, definitely still an option. Davvy Moale is a watch at the Bunnies. Scotty Sorenson, if he's not owned, has to be owned, especially now with Garner going down again. His minutes should be safe. Plugins, Trent Loiero, as I mentioned, Tommy Talua, but don't love it. Junior Pauga, I really like. Grant Anderson, I'm more high on than Talua as a plug. Marata Niukore for this weekend could do a job for you at 2RF. Blake Wilson, Trai Fuller, and anyone else I mentioned in the in the potty. On the get-aheads, there's no one really sticking out to me there this week. I'll mention it in the matchups if I think of it or see a matchup for this weekend, and then it translates to the get-aheads. Yeah, I think Titans and Dolphins play the next 2 buys, and maybe Manly, and then the Knights play the round 19 buy. So if you're looking just to cover your buy rounds and get ahead on those guys, look for players that I've mentioned potentially in those teams. That's it, guys.